Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We have the Fed issuing new crypto banking restrictions. We also have XRP automated market makers. And what about us becoming liquidity providers? How about the idea of never having to sell your XRP? How about the idea of XLM's expansion? We're going to tell you where. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content right now. $1.13 trillion market cap for crypto. We're up 0.3%. Bitcoin, 23,000, slightly over. Ethereum is 1658 and change. Tether market cap, 68.2 billion. XRP, 39 cents. Let's take a look at this. If you haven't done it, check out Privacy Pros. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited because I just got my bill file, which is this, to be able to put your secret keys or passphrases in so you don't lose them. They'll be protected in fire, flood damage, any other way. I mean, I'm excited. I'm getting ready to do that over the weekend. I also got 2 Faraday bags to put my phone in and things of that nature. I'm absolutely tickled to death with this. Check out the link underneath the description and comment section, and do the same for Ledger Stacks, the creator of the iPod. If you're not on this list to get the Ledger Stacks, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's only going to get longer. Get the best deal. Click the link. 50%. Look, you guys got to help us with this. Whale Chart says consumers complain about 50% withdrawal fees on Crypto.com exchange. What in the world is going on over there? If this is accurate, they're going to have to change their name from Crypto.com to a company called Lean Over and Took It. Anyway, if you have any information, feel free to share it with me. I would love to know more. It took it. Oh boy. Goldman Sachs, Bitcoin is a commodity. It has no liability attached to it. Yeah, and if you listen to Quincy Jones break it down too, it's not scalable.
What is it? A security, a commodity, a currency, what?
It's a commodity. And if you look at the definition of a security, by definition, it has a liability attached to it. Take a dollar bill, has a liability to the U.S. government. Commodities do not have liabilities. They're bearer assets. And when you think about it in that context, you look at Bitcoin, it's not much different than gold. I don't see why there's all this hostility towards it, because it fits the same mold as many of the other commodities. Remember, it's even mined.
Remember, it's computer code. Listen, I hope everybody makes $1 gazillion on Bitcoin, and I hope it lasts forever. I really do. I really do. But why has someone not submitted a FOIA request to Homeland Security to find out exactly who the 4 identities of Satoshi Nakamoto actually are? Because Homeland Security has actually said on camera that they know exactly who they are. And why is everyone still acting like we don't know where the inception of the token came from in the network? Barry Silbert's digital currency group sold Grayscale shares to raise capital and preserve liquidity. Okay? Things are not good over there. All hands on deck, right? This is more systemic cascading effects from FTX and SBF's reckless approach to how he ran that company. And it's also, I think, speaks broadly to the approach that Gary Gensler has not used in the SEC, which is to do simple due diligence on the companies you take meetings with, because he could have stopped this, and he didn't. Ron Hammond said, here's a great state of play for crypto policy. And he says, if you want to recap on what we're seeing on the ground in DC for DeFi, I encourage you to give this piece a read. Well, I read the whole thing, and it basically recaptures the entire debacle from Celsius to Voyager to FTX, and then leads us to this conclusion here, which essentially it says in this particular instance here, Congress will likely forge ahead and hold several hearings on issues ranging from stablecoins, centralized exchanges, and DeFi. It says here, achieving good policy outcomes this year will require the industry and policymakers to listen and work hard to see from one another's perspectives. This is the kind of verbiage that is always exercised and used in government, and it makes me want to vomit. How about somebody actually taking action? How many more hearings do we actually have to have? There's so many countries around the world that have clarity here. I tell you, it feels more like a stall tactic. Just saying. Economic Affairs Secretary says regulation on crypto asset to be implemented in 2023. Oh, do tell. I want to know more. Somebody tell us. It says here, Finance Minister stated February 3rd that this will be looking to develop a global SOP, which is standard operating procedure for regulating crypto in her upcoming G20 meeting, ladies and gentlemen. Now that is something we want to hear about because we know it's loaded with finance ministers and central bank governors. Now why that was closed on me and then I don't know. The internet's doing weird things these days. I'm telling you, even Twitter feed. I had so many people in my Twitter feed and now I can't find them. Like they're not showing up. It's very odd what's going on there. However, this isn't as odd if you've been following the events on the geopolitical level and certainly with the monetary system and the global economy. For the third month in a row, China has reported an increase in their gold reserves. Prior to November 22, China had not reported their gold holdings since 2019. Why are they reporting now all of a sudden? It's such a great question, but I tell you, I think it speaks to what we see with the United States acting like they're so far behind when I really believe that obviously we are behind, but I also believe the largest economy of the world is waiting for the rest of the world to get to where they need to be at a certain stage of adoption, let's say. This is my speculation. And then they are going to drop the hammer because once the United States takes a position in crypto, it is game on. And people say all the time, I talked about this the other day, oh, well, the SEC, they can't tell other countries what to do. You're right, they can't. But I can tell you what they have done. They've turned a $3+ trillion crypto market into a trillion, sometimes less than $1 trillion market. Now, how about that for a hat trick? We'll see. It is particularly important, says the Federal Reserve, for a state member bank to have in place appropriate systems to monitor and control risk regarding crypto. Additionally, stating that the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which was architected, by the way, as a side note, with Michael S. Barr's help, who is also a former U.S. Treasury member and a former Ripple advisor, and now the vice president of the Federal Board of Governors who's working on architecting stablecoin legislation. I thought you should know. In the absence of fundamental economic use case, the value of most crypto assets is driven largely by sentiment and future expectations and not by cash flow from providing goods or services outside the crypto asset ecosystem. I will tell you inside of this statement from the Federal Reserve here, and I'm sorry, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which is a combination of the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, the CFTC, the OCC, the SEC, and other agencies broadly that make up the FSOC Commission or Council. When they use the word crypto assets is largely driven by sentiment, that is a speculative market, and future expectations, which is one of the prongs of the Howey test. Oh. Thought you should know. China, in their gold accumulation, I believe, is working not only through gold accumulation to shore up their own money system, but they're also looking to end the America's petrodollar monopoly. And they're doing that by the advancements they've done inside of the launch of the digital yuan in their country. We also know they've strengthened their relationship with Russia and the BRICS coalition, which is expanding now to more than half of the world's population and at least 40% of the world's resources. This is Yahoo talking about the same exact thing we've been talking about on this channel. We welcome Yahoo for this discussion because it's exactly what we've been following here. Look, I don't know how long these things take. I would discredit myself to try to predict it. Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it 5 months? I have no idea. But the actions we are seeing here are being spoken and broadcast very loudly and very publicly. It is a truth. The U.S. is facing a major challenge as the global reserve currency for the world, as the petrodollar begins to lose force. This is a truth. This is not speculation. This used to be what people would say I'm a conspiracy theorist over. It's happening. Then there's this from Minus Wells. Big fan of mine. I'm only kidding. He's not. However, this information is accurate and it's worth sharing. XLS30D, automated market maker on XRP Ledger, has been proposed as a PR on Ripple code base. Automated market maker AMM will become the primary trading method, enable passive income, allow RippleNet to hold supremacy over other layer ones. This is bigger than you may realize. This amendment should go through, I think is what he's saying. That was September of 2022, rather. But look, the reason I wanted to bring this up is because when I read it again, it made me think of this. Because last summer, David Schwartz was at Apex, and he talked about the importance and how excited he was about automated market makers, AMMs, on the XRP Ledger. And I get it. It cuts out arbitrage and it gives people the ability to become liquidity providers. And one of the things that it reminded me of was this conversation I had back in 2018. And for some reason, my page is reloading again. I don't know what's going on here, Twitter, but I would appreciate some help. If you remember this one, I asked in 2018 the question to Brad Garlinghouse and Dilip Rao at the time. This is how long we've been asking these questions and not been able to attain 100% clarity on the answer. I think it speaks to nothing else. It speaks to my consistency and persistence that I will not go away until we get the answer. Brad Garlinghouse got a real quick question. Does transition away from retail to institution mean that we will see retail market phased out, Dilip Rao? And if so, will XRP holders be able to continue to hold XRP without restriction? Thank you in advance. Dilip Rao reported back at the time, liquidity is an ocean with fish, large and small, many varieties needed for an ecosystem to thrive and grow. Yes? Well, I think it is a yes. And understanding that as automated market makers are brought into the XRP Ledger, and the idea that maybe someday, even though we're not in RippleNet, but maybe even as a retail investor, we may be able to participate as a liquidity provider in the network, even off the Ledger and other pools. That would be amazing. I remind people to remember this one. 2+ years later in the SEC versus Ripple case, and the countdown is on. The thought of being a liquidity provider and never having to sell your XRP is pretty amazing. We are so close to finding out. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. The countdown is on. Jeremy Hogan says that we could see a ruling within 40 days or slightly beyond. Now, you can't hold him to it, but I tell you what, I certainly appreciate his legal perspectives on the matter. Not financial advice from me, him, or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.